Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 149 on Tuesday, the 11th of December 2017. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And this week we'll be talking about how the book is thrown at an ex-VW employee. A car with a silly name has been revealed. Why picking on diesels is dumb. And we admire some wedges.
Oh, I can't beat a good wedge. Do you want to start?
And it's the 12th, by the way.
Oh, shit. Should we start again?
Yeah, no worries.
What idiot typed that? Oh, that was me, yes. See, this is why you need to be in first to stop me making these stupid
You're going to delete the Hindenburg and start again?
Yeah, if you want. Hang on.
Yeah, that's...
Might as well. Start, delete.
Control X, yeah. Right, because we can just go
Start.
bang into it.
Ready?
To press record.
Mm-hmm. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And I still have lines. That's good.
One of these times I'll get a clapperboard. Catch the clip. Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 149 on Tuesday, the 12th of December 2017. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew, and this week we'll be talking about how the book has been thrown at an ex-VW employee. A car with a silly name has been revealed. Why picking on diesels is a dumb thing to do, and we admire some wedges.
But first, some Dieselgate stuff, Andrew.
Yes, we mentioned last week how Oliver Schmidt had written to the judge to plead that he was only obeying orders, Governor. I've been let down by the government or by my company. Oh, they put me in an impossible situation. I really shouldn't have done it, but I did do it. I'm ever so sorry. Please don't be horrible. And they've gone for the maximum of everything. He's got the maximum fine. He's got the maximum amount of time in jail.
Did they go for the maximum fine, the 400,000?
400,000. Yes.
7 years. 7 years in jail, 5 for conspiracy, and 2 for criminal violation of the Clean Air Act.
Yeah. So there we go.
I feel that this is.
I'm holding back
heavy-handed
from saying things about trade wars, proxy trade wars, etc.
Well, that's essentially what it is, isn't it? Because so there we go. You see, I haven't held back, but it's a bit ridiculous. US-based companies that do this kind of thing. Here's looking at you, Enron. Then actually,
or even manufacturers where people get killed and they try and hush that up and not fix it and pretend it's not a problem.
Exactly. So there does seem to be a rule for one, a rule for all the others, and I feel a bit sorry for Oliver Schmidt. To be honest.
Yes, I do, because he is a sacrificial lamb. Yeah. As we mentioned last week, he's the most senior VW employee that so far has been embroiled in this, and that is, choose my words carefully here, surprising and a bit disappointing, considering.
Well, you'd think if he was being done and being charged with that much, then why aren't they trying to extradite even more senior management?
Yes. But there are others on Twitter that are shouting more about that than we will mention on here. They are not holding back.
That's fair. I think that's rather fair. So.
But sticking with Dieselgate, now, we nearly didn't add this one because one, Dieselgate's been going so long, we have honestly forgotten what's happened, and I think I need to write another timeline.
It's so true. It really
and two, we've mentioned 3-litre diesels before many times. Most recently that we can recall is about the America approval of the fix, which means they saved billions by not having to buy back all the Q7s, Porsches, and tow rags. But this is in Europe. It is saying on the Autocar article that about or almost 58,000 cars with the 3-litre diesel engine has got to be fixed because Germany's transport authority has said that it showed signs of having a defeat device, basically.
Yeah, it's not using, if it outside testing scenarios, the vehicles are not using as much AdBlue as would expected, or that they were using on or during the testing scenarios. It's 57,600 because it's ones that were fitted with an additional optional selective catalytic reduction system. So the total there is 50,600. This article, Nauticar, says that they haven't yet received confirmation from Volkswagen as to how many vehicles are affected here in the UK.
It's only come out today, this new bit of news. So hot off the interwebby thing. So there we go.
So hot it's steaming.
Yes, well, talking of steaming, let's leave that pile of steamingness behind. Go on to new news.
New news, yes, absolutely. Well, you might have noticed this week, and to be honest, guys, there is not a huge amount of news this week. People are generally having their Christmas. All the manufacturers and PRs seem to be having their Christmas parties this week.
Selfish. They're not thinking of us.
No, exactly.
They're doing things like having car launches in the sunshine, or they're having Christmas parties. It's just shocking, the behaviour of the motor industry this week.
Yes. No decent news generation going on, people. Come on.
No.
Get on with it.
Very disappointed.
However, McLaren, yes. So as a result, McLaren unveiling their new track-focused hyper mega
road car.
Terra track-focused car has got an awful lot of attention and an awful lot of discussion because its looks are polarizing.
They have been designed for performance. It has been
designed for performance.
It is function over form, isn't it?
Very much so. Yes.
Trying to remember if I got that the right way around.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes, in this case, a lot of function. You hope. Some bits and pieces of form in there because parts, particularly of the rear haunches and things, do bear resemblance and bear hints of some of the Can-Am cars from the 60s and 70s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In there, but more than that, there is. It's kind of funny. It's because the last lot is the 725, 720. Was all about not having all these scoops and wings and disguising all of that and having flat surfaces and sort of subtle intakes. And this very much is going the opposite direction. But if you haven't seen pictures, then go have a little look on the interwebs and you'll see what we mean. The car itself weighs a mere 1,198 kilos, or about the same as my MX-5, to give you a sort of real world example in there. And it produces 600.
Drink, everyone. Alan managed to get his MX-5 into an article about a McLaren hypercar.
That reminds me.
That's good work.
I have to talk to you about that and suggesting cutting it out where I've done it somewhere else recently. It puts out 789 brake horsepower. That's 660 brake horsepower per ton in there, and it should be a little bit mental.
Yeah. Well, let's okay. Forgetting the looks for a minute, what we know it's going to be is very fast.
Oh yeah.
We know it's going to be very exclusive.
Yeah. Well, they're all sold.
And this seems to be the new fight battle. It is the track-focused hypercars for very small niche manufacturers, because it's going to go up against the Aston Martin Valkyrie, isn't it?
Valkyrie, yes, the one that's at the top of this page is the header, by the way, on our website.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's going to go up against that. You know, they're fantastic, but what's more than a Halo car? They seem to be trying to beat the Halo car now, don't they?
I think yes. It's there's not so much a Halo car as there isn't. Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
So it was interesting watching this unfold on Twitter, and we're only talking about this because there was so much. Has been so much chatter about it, and there is no other news. But there has been so much chatter about it, to be honest.
8.8 kilos for a door, by the way. Car door. Unheard of. Yes.
And that's with the glass in it.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, thanks to a friend of the show, Near Khan, glass is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But it started off that the first bit of discussion was the name. And then when people had slept on it, there was comments about the looks. I noticed the next day. It was very much before sleep and after sleep on Twitter.
So before nightmares and after nightmares.
Yes. Basically people are not fans of the looks at all, really, at all. But there's been a lot of talk about how this has been generated almost exclusively by a computer or by computers rather than by people, which I find hard to believe that's happened. But I understand that the aerodynamics and the function side of it will have driven this heavily in the way that it looks. And to be honest, if you're looking at this sort of price range or whatever, the fact that you stand out is what you want, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're going to stand out in that.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see one in the flesh as opposed to in these studio photos, which, although they don't look particularly doctored, the angles that they're taken from don't always reflect the angles that you see vehicles from.
No.
And sometimes the angles you see vehicles from work significantly better than the studio photo shots. So let's just see what happens when we see it for real. But yeah, we figured that was worth it. It got so much chatter. For anyone that missed it somehow, then we felt that was worth including. But shall we move?
Silly name.
Yes. Don't go there. Right.
I did most of my rant before we pressed record.
You did,
and I stand by that.
Yes. For those of you on the video version, you may notice that the backgrounds are a little bit different tonight.
Yes, I'm coming from inside war-torn Northwest, where my house has been shelled, and there's barely plaster holding on the wall.
He said that, not me.
Anyway. It's mirroring the stages of my breakdown, I think.
Yes, I would say so.
After today.
Anyway, California Department of Motor Vehicles, Andrew.
Yes, they have. They were asked by General Motors who are always looking out for our well-being. Did I say that out loud? I said that out loud.
You did again. You said it out loud.
Oh, no. But General Motors asked to let self-driving car manufacturers, and how it's been put in this Jalopnik article is, Gizmodo, article is dodge liability for crashes if the cars weren't maintained to industry-written standards. Interesting that was attempted. Because as we know, we've recently had a team working on autonomous vehicles try and come out and dictate or make liability for an autonomous vehicle crash in a very prescribed model, which is, i.e., it's not the AV's fault, is the starting point, and we'll work from there. And then another way for a manufacturer to skip liability. But I will go back to what I've always said about this. If you are releasing a vehicle with autonomous vehicle, or what you claim is autonomous vehicle technology and capability, and it is in that mode and it has an issue, first and foremost, you cannot skip responsibility.
Yeah.
And you have to share the information with the regulatory authorities to prove that it wasn't you if you don't believe it was you. If you believe it was, say, for example, a human driver runs straight into you, you will have the data to prove that. There is no, it's nothing to do with us. We're perfectly fine because we always follow the rules. That's not acceptable.
Yeah. So just quickly, going back one stage from anything that's come from Gizmodo, then it's worth mentioning that the Associated Press also covered this. And what they pointed out was the in their words, the new rules released this week delete a provision suggested by General Motors. California Department of Motor Vehicle Sport. I've lost it now. That wasn't the bit I was going to read out. There we go. The rules could have absolved car makers of accident responsibility if a car owner hadn't cleaned his sensors appropriately, said Simpson. The non-profit advocacy group Consumer Watchdogs Privacy and Technology Director. So it's that kind of thing. If it wasn't absolutely, if your car wasn't absolutely clean, possibly because you'd been driving it, if you'd fitted the wrong brand of tire, or if you'd done any of these kind of things, then that was the sort of thing that would have absolved the manufacturers from any form of liability, and therefore the accident would have been completely your fault.
Well, I'm glad they have not gone down that route, because this forces the manufacturers to really, really educate users. Mm-hmm. And we've discussed many times how one of our fears is, because we've seen it in action. We all remember YouTube videos of people eating pizzas in the back of Teslas because they think the capability is one thing when the capability is something else. Mm-hmm. This forces manufacturers have to educate users so much more than they are doing now, and this puts so much pressure on dealers as well. Releasing the vehicle to people. That you to get these cars now, with the advanced technology that we have now, let alone what is being dreamt up. We as the consumers really have to almost do a test to understand this. We're going to have to be really taken through the whys and the what fors and the why and where it's not going to work.
Yeah, it was being pointed out. I added some examples there, but saw in an earlier Associated Press report pointing out that manufacturers might have been able to avoid liability if the tires were slightly underinflated, or even if the oil hadn't been changed as regularly as manufacturers suggest. So you would have had to follow absolutely everything in your owner's manual to do that. So yeah, this is quite an interesting article actually about where it could have led us had the alternative decisions been made, and I will add that so that it goes in the show notes, mate.
Okay, thank you for that.
Rather good.
Right.
Done.
This is a new one, and this is quite a nice one, actually.
Well, I think so too. And this has been getting a little bit of press anyway, out and about around the place, particularly from the chaps over on Fully Charged on YouTube. So Johnny Smith and Robert Llewellyn, and they've been following the build of an electric shooting brake based on a Tesla Model S. It's interesting to see that this is really, once this started to get the ball rolling, then the actual designers have been able to say that it's theirs and to take some of the credit. And that is Neil Van Roy. I think I pronounced that correctly. I'm so sorry if I've got that wrong at all. Who is a Dutch designer living and working in London, and he's been responsible for the form of it. So the car will actually be finished and will be shown in the first week of March 2018. But the little bits and glimpses I've seen of the part finished vehicle, as well as the renderings on the website here, show really quite a smart looking piece of kit.
Yeah, so we all know that I'm a fan of an estatey type vehicle, so I quite like the look of this. I really do. And by the way, we decided pre-show that because he's working in London, we're going to use the Andy Murray rules. And this is being designed in Britain, so is a British design. That's the rules. We all know that, we all accept them. Something good is happening in this country, therefore we adopt it as our own. If it wasn't good, then we would stick with the Dutch car designer who happened to be over here. That's how we would say
exactly. And if we were many people in this country, we'd complain that they were stealing our car design jobs.
Yes.
But yeah. So it's great. There's a bit of a description, bit of background in it, how some of the concepts were generated, and a whole load of sort of some of the concepts are available there, are sort of shown as some of the imagery on the site. So if you are interested in the idea of a Tesla wagon, then go have a little bit of a look. And there's some really smart. Some of his other concepts are really smart. Future taxis, all sorts of bits and pieces like that.
We're about halfway.
Yeah, so that's us halfway, and we return to normal this week with Guilt Minute.
Yes.
So
Very popular Guilt Minute.
Very popular Guilt Minute. Yes. At that point in the show, of course, when I remind you of our Patreon, a way that you can support the Motoring Podcast by donating a small amount of money every month. If you'd like to know more, then head across to motoringpodcast.com and click on the orange Become a Patron button on the front page. If you're already a patron, then thank you so very much. I'm just going to follow up and remind you, just in case you deleted the emails for whatever reason, or existing patrons. Patreon have made some changes to the way that they calculate amounts. That will probably have meant that your pledge amount has gone up. If you don't want your pledge amount to go up, please go back in before the end of the month and put the pledge amount back down again. Okay. Of course, if you want to make it higher, then that's cool too. But yeah, please be aware that
prices can go up as well as down.
Yeah, that's the case. That's something that Patreon has done. Don't think that we had any say in it whatsoever. It's been done, but by them, and yes, not by us.
Yes, we're sorry if you feel miffed by it, but we have no control over that.
We feel slightly miffed by it as well because we have to say things like that.
Yes.
We understand, of course, that not everyone has the ability to donate on a Patreon. So please don't forget to like, rate, and leave feedback for the show via the podcast playing platform of your choice. The ratings and reviews do make a significant difference to where we stand in the charts.
It does. It does indeed.
It's looking rather good at the minute. So thank you very much, everyone who listens.
Yes, it does. We got
pleasant
many shows in top 200. It's quite nice.
18th yesterday, I noticed, for last week's.
We were that high, right? Okay, I thought we were a bit high. Yeah, good. Yes,
that was just when I glanced. I think it was this morning. And we're not American.
No,
nor are we Gareth Jones.
Yes, so anyone who keeps a close eye on the charts will know that's amazing.
Yes.
Anyway, carrying on. Now, this was an article that you put in, Alan. Who did you who brought it?
It was at Drive Right. Jeff thingy. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. It was
Jeff
him.
from Drive Right. Okay, but
Jeff Drive Right, who
spot
flagged it for me. So thank you.
Yeah, great spot. It's an Autocar article. It's an opinion piece by Matt Pryor, and it's titled "Singling Out Diesels is a Facile Solution to a Complex Problem." It's incredibly well written. It says things very intelligently, explaining how things are not black and white, as we've suggested they aren't, and how people are making knee-jerk reactions, and we're in danger of making more silly decisions under knee-jerkness. So please go and read this article that will be in the show notes. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. It's not long, and to actually get it down to as short as he did to cover as much as he did, I think is excellent. This goes to show what a writer can do, doesn't it?
Yeah. If we could do that, we'd have an amazingly short show every week. But no, it's excellent. Well worth. I mean, that if there's a link from the show notes that you want to take away and read whilst you're munching your sandwich tomorrow lunchtime, then that's the one for this week, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Right. Moving on.
Loads of people have been solving all our problems. You may, and this time around, it is the German tuning company StarTech. StarTech have released a new item. It's called LR5-410-00.
What on earth is that, Alan?
Well, it is for €809, so about 700 and something-ish quid. It is an insert for the rear of your Discovery, which puts the number plate in the middle. Dum, dum, dum. Yes, puts the number plate in the middle and makes the back of your Discovery not look like a dog's dinner. Yeah.
But that won't save the company.
Oh, no, that's Jeremy Govern's doing that. Absolutely, Jeremy Govern's doing all of that. I don't know if you've seen... Have you seen that? It's not in the list here.
No.
It's on the drive.
No, I've not seen it.
Oh, have you not seen it? That's really good. It's not really good. It's awful. But yes, we might include that one in the links. I'm not going there, but yeah,
Well, you've hinted at it now. You're gonna have to tell everyone.
Oh well, it starts off. Well, the timeline. Let me get it up on the drive.com. You see, I thought you'd seen this. Then I remembered that I'd only seen it on Facebook, which explains why you hadn't.
Yeah, and I have told you about my day today as well.
Yes. There we go. Land Rover's Jerry McGovern, : good luck to brands trying to overtop Range Rover capability and luxury. And it goes on, and it's a blah, 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 blah. Where is it? There's a quotation from this, and it's wonderful. It's a partial transcription of a far-ranging interview edited for flow and clarity with Mr. McGovern. There was one part in it. Oh, there we go. I've had customers come up to me on the stand and say, "You're ruining this brand." And I say, "Oh, really? I'm actually making it a lot of money." There we go. That's all I'm saying. Great. You're making lots of money right at the minute. Well done. Jolly good. But yeah, you're...
By using the photocopier method.
Yes. But I think...
Which I'm really disappointed in Land Rover. I know I've said it before, but I thought they were better than that.
Yeah, I just... The article is really all about him. Anyway, I'll stop going into that before we get done for slander.
You're only repeating the article.
I am only repeating the article, so please do go have a read of that article.
It will be in the show notes because you'll put it in Trello, won't you?
Oh yes. What, before I close
later?
I close the window? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, start.
But the back, but that item makes the back look so much better.
It's night and day. It genuinely is night and day. It looks way more like the.
It doesn't look like it's falling over
stuff
to one side.
Exactly. And you would think, and people said they did it because it would make the car look wider if it was over to one side. But in actual fact, I swear, there's kind of two shots here of a before and after to the rear of the car, and it just looks so much better.
Because of all the things because it was said at the time, wasn't it, that it was to show the continuity through the models as they progress over time. But I thought of all the things to keep, that wasn't the bit that I would have kept. I would have kept the massive amount of glass in the back.
And the significant step in the roof as well.
And the
Alpine lights.
And how it was a big flat bit of glass as well in the boot area.
Yeah.
I thought that was much more distinctive of the Discovery to me.
Whilst we really should be more professional than to slam into Land Rover about the Discovery. Jeremy Clarkson's piece in Sunday Times this week is another good read, by the way, on the topic. There we go.
Punches are pulled, I presume.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. List of the week.
Oh, list of the week.
We've got that quite quickly, actually.
We have. I was like, whoa, is it really time for that yet? Yeah.
I promised wedges at the start of the show, and wedges we have.
Oh, fantastic.
This is from Petrolicious. All the way back, actually, from July 2015. But
really?
I noticed they were retweeting it. They tweeted it out, and I just happened to come across it and then looked through it, and that's fantastic. And this is their 5 favourite Giugiaro wedge cars. Now, I'm not going to talk too much because the only one I really recognised, because I am a Neanderthal.
He is.
As everyone knows, I am here to make Alan look good, and I don't have to try that hard, is the 75 Lotus Esprit. There are others there that I sort of vaguely recognise, but Definitely not by name.
So the Bizarini Manta is a rather strange one. And it's not really a wedge. I mean, it goes through and it says that it's not really a wedge. It is more of a sort of segment, really, in there. But these are from the classic.
How thin are the A pillars? It's fantastic.
Yeah,
you can see things.
These are from the classic. Yeah, but just wait till that crash. I mean, these are from
details.
The classic days of concept cars. I'm just going to keep on going and ignore them. The classic days of concept cars, where concept cars really were, well, to begin with, wildly different from reality. But once you get into things like the 1970 Porsche Tapiro by Ital Design, which is based on 914, you do start to see whiffs of Maserati Bora, for example.
I was going to ask about that because I was going to ask, did he do the Bora? Because
I think he did, yeah.
The back end.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm going to look a right spoon.
The back end, that looks very Bora-ish to me.
Yeah, and Merak as well in there. But the one when you talk about Maseratis and wedges, you really start thinking about that Maserati Boomerang. Which, I mean, you say about the Lotus Esprit, it was the Boomerang came before the Esprit, and a lot of the shape from the Boomerang is Mark I Esprit.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
If you look, it's such a strong link. I mean, you've got just the shape of the windscreen, the shape of the front, the
I just love how much glass there is. I mean, it's a supercar, but there appears to be so much visibility out of that. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And no camera is involved.
No, exactly. The other thing, of course, about the Boomerang is it has the most awesome steering wheel in that just the rim turns and all the buttons are in the middle. A bit like a Citroen. Ooh, what was the Citroen that did that recently? No, it wasn't CX. It was on the more recent ones. I think it was on the Picassos.
Yeah. It might have been a C5.
Yeah, possibly. So it was that. You see, I should know that, but I know my Ital Design wedges far better. Lotus Esprit. And the last one isn't strictly speaking a wedge, but I think it's fantastic, is the Alfa Romeo New York Taxi from 1976. I don't know if you've seen that. It was based around Alfa Romeo's F12 VAD, which had been in production since the mid-1950s by this point, having just had a minor facelift to introduce some plastic. But it's got this fantastic... But the body on this taxi is fantastic. It's got, and things again, as you're saying about the amount of glass, it's got a panel. You know, it's got a big glass panel in the roof in the back, so that people can look up at the skyscrapers of New York. It's got sliding side doors. It's got room for wheelchairs. It's got pedestrian protection on the front and on the rear as well.
The angles are perfect for pedestrian protection in the event of being hit by one of these, because they're so steep, and it more is probably not the right word, but that's why we've got bonnets in the shape that they are now, and some people have got the slightly pop-up bonnets for when if there's an impact to lessen the oh god, your Mazda again. You've now managed to crowbar it into something about Giugiaro. Oh, for goodness sake. You've gone months without mentioning it, and then you just drink again, ladies and gentlemen. It's nearly Christmas anyway, so why not have another?
So I'm just kidding. Yeah, keep going. So you will, when you see it, you'll see whiffs of Toyota Space Cruiser in there.
Yeah,
and also the related Toyota Lighthouse van again from the.
But again, what really smacks to me about this is, and again, because I am a Neanderthal, I really am. I don't say that for effect. I really am when it comes to design. I go, oh, I like that. I don't like that. That's about as close as I get.
It's good.
But I love the flat windscreen. There's been a couple of cars we've driven that have had nearly flat or actually flat windscreens, and I just. It just makes such a difference in the car, I feel.
I agree completely. Yes.
Anyway, go have a look at the list that we've just walked you through. They're fantastic.
And that's brilliant lead-in. I'm so glad you mentioned flat windscreens. because
It's
that
not flat though, is it?
what
It's not a flat windscreen.
where in the next one.
Yeah.
The next story is completely the opposite. Absolutely and totally the opposite. I meant to talk about this last week and I completely forgot.
So you saved it for the week when I'm in a bad mood. Well done.
Yes, well, I didn't know that at the time of me putting it in. Chris Bangle's city car.
It's revealed just before Detroit, wasn't it?
It was designed just before and then sort of shown at it.
Ding. Is this
Ding.
just to double check? Is this a design study or is this
supposedly not?
Okay.
It is called the Reds. It is a city car for China.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's 9.7 feet long, so it's shorter than an original proper Isigounis Mini. So it is really quite small, which is why it looks so tall in the pictures. Actually, is because it has a tiny footprint, and it's curious because it's designed for some of these Chinese mega cities where people go out in the car, but they don't really go very far and they don't really go very fast, and they spend an awful lot of their time just sitting in the car in traffic. And so things like aerodynamics, also many of those things that we consider in cars to be, we're just so used to the idea that a car is going to be aerodynamic. It just, in this situation, in this use case, it just doesn't matter anymore. What's more important is that you can socialize much more. So you don't need all four people facing forwards all the time. You don't need a sharply, a sharply raked windscreen like one of Giugiaro's wedges, or any of these things. You need, to be able to stop the car, turn around, and maybe sit and chat because you're going to be there for a while. So you might as well make yourselves comfortable when it comes into there. So it's designed for all that. It goes into car design, a waffle. About being a socializing space and all these kind of things. And I think it's rather cool.
I'm not
the more
sure.
I looked at it, no, that is
culturally the country this is targeted at. That is
what you've got to remember is it's a different culture, and there aren't.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know it is a very different culture, and this is foisting almost European and Western attitudes on that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you really sure?
Well, did you listen to a recent review with Andy Masson? We discussed China.
Oh, right. Well, no, I haven't necessarily listened to it yet. I'll be completely honest. I haven't. I've been too busy.
Outrageous.
I've been too busy. I've been driving little noisy cars, which are not conducive to listening.
Excuses, Alan. Words. Excuses. You have headphones.
Not when I'm driving, though.
One ear. No,
definitely not. Definitely not.
You good boy.
I am. Yes. Not these weirdos. So yeah. So it is being done for a Chinese company. It has been done from research in China. Maybe they've just been doing a different type of research.
It's aimed at a different part of society. It is aimed at making mobility for the masses rather than, it's definitely not aimed at the elite, because if it's the elite, bigger,
they want more chrome.
Bigger is better. The bigger it is, the better it is.
I like it because it's
looking.
It's awfully challenging. What I love is it's got two silhouettes. Did you notice this? It's not really obvious in these photographs, but when it was parked, when it's shown against a dark background, you see a little sort of Postman Pat type car silhouette, a little K car type shape, and that masks the sort of darkness of the windscreens and the windows front and rear. So it's got a different silhouette. It's got two silhouettes. It's got one which is like the traditional car, but then it's got another one which is a bit more masked, which is actually the volume in there, which is different. And yeah, I think that's really clever. I like the squiggle on the side.
There's
I
hidden
find
pillars and stuff, isn't there? You know, sort of blacked out to make it look like it's floating roofs, and roof disappears and things like that, which is clever. Yeah, I mean it's clever. It is very clever. I wish it looked better, and I think the feature I laugh at the most are the rear diffusers.
well, there's that sort of big squiggle that goes round. That's a bit like a scribble. Actually, I was somewhere last week and they had a whole load of scribbles on the walls, scribble, and then some very cuddly words in the middle. And I wanted to take a picture of them, but there were too many people around, and also the brand name was in too many of the scribbles for me to do it. Because I wanted to say, well, look, don't these look like the original designs for the Reds? The triangular bit that's on it, that then the completely flat square door goes over, that's a bit weird.
The front grille, the front sort of lights downwards, that reminds me of something, and I cannot remember what it is.
Is it a Kia Soul EV?
Well, there is the Kia Soul, but what else did I get? I got vibes of the i3 out of that as well, I'm sure.
A little bit. Well, it's that same kind of slightly deconstructed styling to an extent. Only it's, in some ways, it's even more extreme than an i3.
Oh yeah, it's much more extreme.
I find it interesting. I like it. I don't think it's. I don't think it's. I don't think it's sexy. I don't think it's pretty. I don't think it's. It's lots of things, but I also don't think it's ugly. I think.
Okay, let me put this question to you then, because this is what I thought about all this. If this wasn't Chris Bangle, we wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't have talked about it on Twitter after an hour.
Yeah, and you do have a fair point. You do. I mean,
and that's good that he uses his profile to encourage the conversation. I just wish it looked nicer. I don't mind with it looking different.
I don't think he's interested in nice though.
I don't care about it looking different. I'm happy to look at different options. It just doesn't look very nice on the outside. I think it's incredibly clever, and I love that. You know, I love that about if you can do clever packaging,
yeah,
I'm all over it. I just wish the outside of it looked more.
My next thing is I'd love to see it in the flesh. I really want to see this in the flesh, because then I would be. I would prepare to back. I may see it in the flesh, and I may backtrack terribly and go, you know what? I quite like that in the renderings and stuff, but now that I see it, it's a bit gross. But I find it very interesting. There we go. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It's interesting and it's clever, but is it a bit too clever?
So it'd be interesting to see whether, talking of interesting, I think it would be interesting to see whether others follow this, or whether we now start considering more left field solutions that in the past we, as in Twitter, because that is the internet for me, Twitter, immediately shoot down and poo-poo, or whether we'll start to take a breath and look at what the designer is trying to do, because we've only done that because it's Chris Bangle.
Yeah,
if this had been a student's project, which a lot of it could well be a student's project, couldn't it? We see a lot of stuff that comes out of Coventry Design or the Royal School of Arts, and it's this sort of thing, in inverted commas. Perhaps we'll give them a bit more careful consideration.
Of course, the first thing we have to do is see if it actually turns into more of a reality, and if the company who commissioned it, Red Space, do actually go ahead. So hopefully they will. I hope it's at Geneva. I really do. Really want to see it at Geneva.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
That's it then.
That's pretty much us for this week.
Done.
Rather short. Sorry about that.
It's a short one.
It was, yes. Well, as I say, blame everyone's Christmas parties.
That's the selfish motor industry.
That's exactly what it is.
As Alan told me it was earlier before we started the show.
Yes, thank you for that. One quick parish note, just to remind you that review Friday.
Try my best.
Will probably be depending on whether or not his house
it's
has
been
been
recorded.
demolished around
There's
him.
just a couple of things to double check, but try my best for Friday.
Cool. So probably for Friday. If there's not that on, I don't know. I can't commit you to that, can I?
What?
No, I was going to say, would there be a special edition on Friday instead?
No.
There we go.
They are saved.
Cool.
But next week, to get everyone in this Christmas spirit,
Yes. Next week
is our last live recorded show before the Christmas break. We have, or will have by then, four special editions to keep you going over the Christmas period, over the festive time and into New Year. But next Tuesday is our last recording of the news show, and we will start again the week of the 8th of January because both you and I are away and having a break.
Yes.
Which you need more than I do.
I'm vaguely near my mother, so we'll see.
You are not sitting on a plane getting angry with someone opening their laptop. Let's put it that way.
That's true. That's very, very true. Yes.
So we will be going through. It will be the prediction show.
Yay!
So we have to.
God, I need to think of some predictions.
Well, we have to run through and remember what the hell we said for this year.
I know what one of mine was, and I wish I'd stuck with the original number and not.
Yeah, you'd have been there, but it's your own fault.
Evil.
It's recorded. It's out there. So, you can't backtrack now.
No, so some predictions. If anybody's got any good suggestions of predictions, please feel free to drop them to me by Twitter DM.
Yes, absolutely, because we'll include them. Well, people can play along at home, no problem.
Yeah, please feel free to suggest and play along at home with your predictions for what's going to happen over the next motoring year, 2018.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's about it. Between now and then, of course, you can give us any feedback, share your thoughts with the show at Motoring Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook, and on the contact page of motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Don't forget our Patreon offer, to support us, available at motoringpodcast.com/support. And please leave a review and rating on iTunes or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. It really does matter. Andrew, getting in touch with you.
The best way would be via Twitter. If you search for Crack Windscreen, you will find me there. And Alan, if people want to suggest possibly another way in which you can mash up the ending of this show, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, the best way always is Twitter, where I'm at AJP Bradley. And I can yawn my way through it. I can do whatever else you want on the way through the ending of the show. We will, as we've said, be back next week with the final show of the year, our predictions, how well we did, how we did on this year's predictions, and all that kind of fun. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.